There comes a moment in every life where you get tired. Not tired of working, not tired of dreaming, but tired of being drained. Tired of explaining yourself to people who never listen. Tired of shrinking your light so others can stay comfortable. Tired of giving your energy to people who only know how to take. And that moment, that quiet, powerful moment, is where everything changes. Because one day, you realize something. You don't need to fight toxic people. You don't need to expose them. You don't need revenge. You don't even need closure. You just need self-respect. See, toxic people only survive where there is permission. They only thrive where there is access. They only disturb where there is emotional availability. And the second you stop making room for what disrespects you, the noise stops. The drama fades. The chaos can't reach you anymore. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to explain your growth. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You just have to decide, I'm done being available to what drains me. Because when you stand differently, people treat you differently. When you move with purpose, distractions lose power. When you stop chasing validation, control shifts back into your hands. And today, you're not here to learn how to deal with toxic people. You're here to learn how to become unbotherable. Because once you do this one thing, they won't even recognize the version of you they used to disturb. If you'd like, I can now continue with the full speech. Turn this into a 2 to 3 minute voiceover script, or adapt it for YouTube/shorts/reels style. Delivery. Radical self-respect begins the moment you stop negotiating your worth with the world. It's the internal decision that says, my peace is not for sale, my time is not disposable, and my energy is not free. For too long, many people are taught to be agreeable, to be understanding, to be available at all costs. They learn to tolerate disrespect in the name of loyalty, to accept emotional crumbs in the name of love, and to stay silent in the name of harmony. But radical self-respect breaks that pattern. It's not loud, it's not arrogant, and it's not cruel. It's calm, grounded, and unshakably clear. When you operate from radical self-respect, you no longer ask people to treat you better. You require it by how you show up. Your standards become visible in your actions, your boundaries, and your silence. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop chasing people who keep you guessing. You stop investing in situations that make you feel small. And not because you're angry, but because you finally understand your value. Radical self-respect means you don't need permission to walk away from what dishonors you. You don't wait for things to get unbearable before you choose better. You listen to that quiet discomfort inside you, the one that whispers this isn't right for you. And instead of ignoring it, you act on it. You trust yourself. You back yourself. You protect your peace like it's sacred because it is. This kind of self-respect changes your posture in life. You stand differently. You speak differently. You move differently. You don't rush into rooms trying to be liked. You walk in knowing you belong. You don't chase approval because you already approve of yourself. And that internal shift creates an external reaction. People feel it. The ones who respect strength will rise to meet you. The ones who thrive on control and chaos will fall away. Radical self-respect is also about how you treat yourself when no one is watching. It's the promises you keep to yourself, the standards you hold when it would be easier to settle, the discipline you practice when motivation fades. It's choosing growth over comfort, truth over illusion, alignment over attachment. And here's the powerful part. Toxic people can't survive around someone with radical self-respect. They need insecurity. They need access. They need emotional confusion. When you remove those things, there's nothing for them to feed on. No hooks, no openings, no entry points. So the real work isn't about fixing others. It's about strengthening yourself. It's about becoming so rooted in who you are that nothing outside of you gets to decide your worth, your mood, or your direction. And when you reach that level of self-respect, your life stops being about reacting to people and starts being about choosing yourself. Emotional independence is the moment you stop outsourcing your worth to other people. It's when you realize that no amount of praise can build you and no amount of criticism can break you unless you give it permission. For a long time, many people live on emotional credit. They feel good only when they're approved of, validated, noticed, or chosen. And when that attention disappears, so does their sense of value. Emotional independence ends that cycle. It's the inner freedom that comes when your confidence is no longer rented from outside sources, but owned from within. When you become emotionally independent, you stop needing people to agree with you in order to believe in yourself. You stop requiring constant reassurance to feel secure. You still care, you still love, you still connect, but you don't collapse when someone pulls away. Their mood no longer controls your mood. Their opinion no longer defines your identity. Their behavior no longer dictates your direction. You begin to understand that your emotional state is your responsibility, not anyone else's job. This doesn't mean you become cold or distant. It means you become grounded. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop begging for clarity and start choosing peace. You stop chasing emotional highs and start building emotional stability. You realize that needing less from people actually gives you more power, more clarity, and more peace. You no longer look for someone to complete you because you've already learned how to stand complete on your own. Emotional independence teaches you how to be alone without feeling lonely. You enjoy your own company. You trust your own voice. You validate your own experiences. When something hurts, you don't run to be rescued. You process it. You face it. You grow through it. You stop using people as emotional crutches and start becoming your own support system. This shift changes your relationships completely. You stop attaching from fear and start connecting from choice. You no longer stay because you're scared to lose someone. You stay because you genuinely want to. And that means you're never trapped. You're never desperate. You're never stuck in something that disrespects you just because you're afraid of being alone. Toxic people lose their grip on you when you're emotionally independent. They can't manipulate you with silence. They can't control you with approval. They can't destabilize you with drama. You're too steady, too aware, too rooted in yourself. You don't need them to be okay, so they lose their leverage over you. And that's real freedom. Not when life is perfect, but when your emotional world is no longer at the mercy of other people's actions, reactions, moods, or decisions, and you finally realize that the strongest version of you is the one who can stand alone, think clearly, feel deeply, and still move forward without needing anyone else to hold you together. Boundaries without apology begin when you stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. For a long time, many people confuse kindness with self-sacrifice. They think being good means being available, agreeable, and endlessly understanding. But real strength shows up when you can say no without shaking, without explaining, and without needing to justify your decision. Boundaries without apology are not walls meant to isolate you. They are doors that only open to what respects you. When you live without clear boundaries, you teach people how to treat you. You show them what you will tolerate. You show them how far they can go. And if you accept disrespect in silence, you silently approve of it. But the moment you decide to draw a line, everything changes. You stop allowing others to overstep your time, your energy, and your emotional space. You stop giving unlimited access to people who bring limited value. You stop saying yes when your soul is screaming no. Boundaries without apology mean you don't over-explain yourself. You don't get pulled into debates about your decisions. You don't seek permission to choose what's best for you. You understand that people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always be uncomfortable when you finally set them. They may call you selfish. They may call you distant. They may say you've changed. But what they really mean is you're no longer easy to control. You don't need to be aggressive to be firm. You don't need to be rude to be clear. You just need to be consistent. When your actions match your words, people learn quickly where you stand. You don't argue your standards. You live them. And that quiet confidence speaks louder than any explanation ever could. Setting boundaries without apology also means you stop managing other people's emotions. You're not responsible for how someone feels about your honesty. You're not responsible for their disappointment when you choose yourself. You're not responsible for their discomfort when you refuse to be used. You're responsible for your own integrity, your own mental health, and your own direction in life. This kind of boundary setting changes your relationships. Some people will respect you more. Some people will leave. And both outcomes are blessings. Because anyone who can only stay when you abandon yourself was never meant to stay at all. The people who truly value you will adjust. The people who only valued your compliance will fall away. And that's where the power is. You stop bending to be accepted. You stop shrinking to be included. You stop betraying yourself to keep the peace. You realize that real peace only comes when you're no longer at war with your own needs, and when you stop apologizing for protecting your time or energy and your worth. You step into a version of yourself that toxic people can no longer reach, manipulate, or disturb. Inner authority is the moment you stop waiting for life to give you permission and start giving yourself direction. It's when you realize that no one outside of you gets to decide what you allow, what you accept, or what you tolerate. For a long time, many people live as emotional tenants in their own lives. They let other people's opinions, reactions, and expectations become the rules they follow. But inner authority is about taking your power back and becoming the one who sets the tone for your own world. When you have inner authority, you don't look around to see who agrees with you before you move. You move because you trust your judgment. You listen to your intuition. You respect your inner compass. You stop second-guessing every choice just because someone might not understand it. You understand that clarity doesn't come from consensus. It comes from alignment with who you are and what you stand for. Inner authority changes how you carry yourself. You're no longer easily swayed by pressure. You're no longer controlled by fear of rejection. You don't collapse under criticism or inflate under praise. You stay centered. You stay grounded. You become consistent in your values, even when it's uncomfortable. And that consistency creates stability in your life. You're no longer scattered, pulled in 100 directions by other people's wants. You're focused, intentional, and self-directed. With inner authority, you don't ask people to respect you. You show them how by the way you move. Your decisions become clean. Your yes means yes. Your no means no. There's no confusion. No emotional bargaining. No back and forth. You stop explaining your vision to people who aren't meant to see it. You stop waiting for validation before you act. You understand that most people won't understand your path, and that's okay because they're not the ones walking it. Inner authority also means you stop outsourcing your identity. You're not trying to be what's trending. You're not chasing approval. You're not shaping yourself to fit into rooms that weren't built for you. You become rooted in who you are, not who you're supposed to be. And from that place, your actions carry weight. Your words carry power. Your presence carries influence. Toxic people can't dominate someone with inner authority. They need hesitation. They need insecurity. They need confusion. When you remove those things, they lose their leverage. They can't manipulate your emotions when you're clear on your standards. They can't steer your life when you're already driving it. Inner authority is not about control over others. It's about command over yourself. It's about living from the inside out instead of the outside in. It's about becoming the source of your own direction instead of waiting for someone else to lead you. And when you reach that level of self-leadership, you stop being reactive to people and start being intentional with your life choices. Your energy and your future unshakable focus is what happens when your purpose becomes louder than every distraction around you. It's the state where your mind is no longer pulled in 100 directions by opinions, drama, trends, and emotional noise. You stop reacting to everything and start responding only to what truly matters. Your energy becomes intentional. Your attention becomes disciplined, and your life begins to move forward with clarity instead of chaos. When you develop unshakable focus, you stop letting other people's behavior control your momentum. You don't wake up checking who doubted you, who ignored you, or who disappointed you. You wake up focused on what you're building. You stop giving your best energy to things that don't deserve it. You stop arguing with distractions. You stop negotiating with procrastination. You stop entertaining what doesn't align with your direction. Focus is power because whatever you consistently give attention to grows. When your attention is scattered, your life feels scattered. When your attention is locked in, your life starts to align. You begin to notice that your goals don't move closer when you talk about them. They move closer when you work on them. An unshakable focus is what keeps you working when motivation fades and excitement wears off. With this level of focus, you don't need to announce your plans. You let your progress speak. You don't need to respond to every comment, every rumor, every distraction. You understand that not everything deserves your energy. Silence becomes a strategy. Discipline becomes your advantage. Consistency becomes your identity. Unshakable focus also protects your peace. When you're locked into your mission, you don't have time to entertain toxic people. You don't chase attention. You don't engage in emotional games. You don't get pulled into unnecessary battles. You're too busy becoming who you said you were going to be. And that's what makes you dangerous in the best way. Not aggressive, not loud, not reactive, just unstoppable. Because when your focus is clear, your direction is strong. When your direction is strong, your confidence grows. And when your confidence grows, your presence changes. People will notice that you're different. They'll feel that you're not easily distracted, not easily shaken, not easily pulled off your path. And that's when toxic people stop bothering you. Not because you fought them, but because you outgrew them. You became too focused to be fooled, too disciplined to be delayed, and too purpose-driven to be disturbed. Unshakable focus turns your life into a mission instead of a reaction. You stop living based on what happens to you and start living based on what you're building. You move with intention. You speak with clarity. You act with conviction. And when you reach this level, you don't just survive in a noisy world. You rise above it. If this message resonated with you and you're ready to protect your focus, your peace, and your purpose, then like this video, comment what you're committing to, and subscribe for more motivation that helps you level up your life.